This is a video showing how to use a 3S Max script program created by Group 5 from Dpm3 Algorithmic Thinking, Cardiff University. The program has two main functions, creating blob meshes and animating them. Because of that, it has two lists, blob mesh list and animation list. The first button for the blob mesh list is Add. When clicked, the user could pick one object, changing its color to green, adding it to the blob mesh list. For the animation list, the first button is Add also. The only difference is, if the picked object is not from the blob mesh list, it will ask the user if he wants to add an object to the animation list which is not from the blob mesh list. Yes, we'll add the object, changing its color to blue. No, on cancel, we'll cancel the function. If the object is from the blob mesh list, it will add it to animation list and change its color to blue without any interruption. The remove button for the blob mesh list and the animation list does the same thing. If, for example, the removing is from the animation list and the selected object is not from the animation list, will pop out a warning that you can't remove something which is not already there. If the remove button is clicked for the animation list and the object selected is from the animation list but it's not from the blob mesh list, it will change its wire color to gray. It will be removed from the animation list. The same is for the blob mesh list. If, for example, an object is from both lists but it's removed only from the animation list, it will retain color green because it is still in the blob mesh list. The third button for the blob mesh list is Add All, which will add all objects from the working space to the blob mesh list, changing their color to green. The third button for the animation list is blob mesh list, which will add all of the blob mesh list items to the animation list, changing their color to blue. The reset button for both lists does the same thing. It resets the selected list, for example the blob mesh list, retaining the color depending on if the object is still in the animation list and if the object is not in the animation list, and vice versa. After the user is satisfied with the selected objects for the blob mesh list, he could generate a blob mesh, which after that could be transformed by size, tension, and color. If the user adds, removes, or changes in any way the blob mesh list, it will delete the blob mesh, and because of that he needs to generate a new one. After generating each time a blob mesh, he needs to input the settings again in order to change it to the desirable shape, size, and color. After putting blob meshes, sometimes the blob meshes are too big and interrupting the process of animation and selecting for the animation list. Because of that, the program has two buttons. One is blob and the other one is select else. The blob button will, when checked, it will hide the blob meshes, making it easier for the user to select and unselect objects from the both lists. After selecting the desirable objects for animation, before animating the objects, the user needs to input the settings. The first settings for the animation is selecting a file to read. This button, when clicked, it will open a directory where the person needs to find the text, the desired text, which will be written by the program. After opening the text, the person needs to specify on which axis the object from the animation list will be transformed X, Y, Z. The person could select multiple axes or he can select just one, for example Z. After that, the person could specify a unit or a scaling unit for the reading type. When, for example, the item which is read from the text is 1, he could multiply it with this unit in order to specify the intensity of scaling. For me, it's 1. The other factor is frame, which is specifying between how many frames the changes for the selected animation list will occur, for example 5. When the user is finished with the settings for animation, he could click animation in order to animate the specific items. After the animation is finished, he could unhide or hide the blobs and play the animation. If the user wants to change the animation of the same object, if the animation frames are the same, they will overlap and change the settings from the previous animation. If the animation frames are in different types, for example 10, it will add animation keys without deleting the previous animation keys for the same object.